is the SEC, do they have better football coaches or basketball coaches? Because you kind of go into it saying you've got the two greatest with Kirby and Nick Saban. Well, you don't anymore. And you've got what Nate Oates is doing. You want to go across the board, South Carolina, you have Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky's Kentucky. They're always pretty good. So, basketball coaches, how do you rank them, John, compared to football coaches in the SEC right now?
Um, well, Nate Oates is to me the national coach of the year. Well, I guess you got to consider Hurley too, but what he did at Alabama this year was amazing. I thought.
Especially
Yeah,
given the fact that nobody got shot.
yeah, that was kind of a sidebar, but I think you got to look at big picture. Yeah, no blood on the ground.
Treat
So
every sidebar like a lead.
okay, I think no, the SEC has probably got better coaches in basketball than it's ever had. And there have been other times when it had really good coaches, but it's got a lot of really good coaches. When you look at even teams that weren't successful this year, uh, have good track records and won at other places. How many national championship coaches do you have in basketball?
I think you still just have one in
Calipari.
basketball right now.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Calipari.
And how many national championship coaches in football? You just one. I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty even.
I do
Yeah,
too.
I think it's
When you
pretty
break it
even.
down like that,
It's not
yeah. And
necessary. It's not just that.
I
I'm
look at
just
this too, like, and John, I look at this too, like if Mark Stoops is kind of your median, which I think we would agree he is, he's kind of down the middle. What's your median in basketball? I mean, your median, a guy that's just kind of right down the middle of the road. That's a good coach, not a great coach. Um, who would that be? That would be compared to, let's say, Stoops at Kentucky from a basketball perspective. Thinking.
I think what we're going to get here is a lot of dead air.
Okay, Caleb,
I mean,
go on.
I was going to say Mike White at Georgia is kind of your median coach.
But so that speaks well. I mean, Mike White went to the Elite Eight at Florida. I think before he took the Georgia job, was averaging over 20 wins per seasons for 11 years. So, I mean, but I think he's in the bottom half of SEC coaches. I don't know what to do with the Missouri coach. He had a really good year. Now he's had a really bad year. South Carolina coach, he's just getting started. Had a really good year, but I don't know what he'll do long term. LSU coach, a couple of years, took over a bad program. Jerry Stackhouse at Vanderbilt. Who would you rather have as your coach?
I'm very fond of Paris at South Carolina. I had some dealings with him. I thought he would be very good. I didn't think he'd have the kind of season that he had. But if that's your second tier coach, and let's put based off accomplishments, Barnes, Pearl, Calipari would be on another level. But if Lamont Paris, Caleb, is your third tier coach, then you've got a darn good group of coaches in the SEC. And I think I agree with John that it could certainly rival football.
Well, and the way I look at this is each program compare their football coach to their basketball coach. I think we're all in unison right now that South Carolina has a better basketball coach than a football coach, right?
Yeah, that's almost
you got four SEC football. Yeah, you got four SEC football coaches who are about to get fired. I can't think.
Yeah, so I mean,
Jerry Stackhouse is gone. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going down this list, and let's look at the top of the SEC real quick. Tennessee, Rick Barnes, Josh Heupel. I love Josh Heupel, but I think we have to say Rick Barnes is the better coach in his respective sport right now, right?
Yeah, we don't have a big enough track record with Josh Heupel now. If we're looking at what are the expectations, you might say the future might be better with Josh Heupel than Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes is much older and is closer to the end of his career. Josh Heupel's just getting going. So, but your point, when you go down school by school, I mean, Alabama's in great shape, I think, with Kalen DeBoer in football and Nate Oates in basketball. Both made the playoffs. You look at Georgia, got the best football coach in the country and a basketball coach who's been very successful. Look at Ole Miss. I mean,
They have a great basketball coach.
Lane Kiffin's done a great job. Chris Beard, not so strong on, off the court stuff, but he's done really well as a coach.
Auburn, Bruce Pearl and Hugh Freeze.
Auburn's got Bruce Pearl. I mean, he's done more than Hugh Freeze has, but Auburn's pretty well fortified at both coaching spots. When you look at it, it's
and then there's Florida.
I think if you
sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's got Billy Napier, of course.
He's very detail oriented.
Yeah, yes.
What everybody said about him when he was hired is that he's incredibly detail oriented.
Yeah, he will hire more people than anybody else. He'll hire somebody to tie his shoes. So he can
I gotta take this. Well, I gotta take this call. It's Billy Napier. He just offered me a job.
He wants you to tie his shoes.
They've got 2 beat writers for the university. Maybe they want 3 because you just can't get enough Gators. Yeah, if you look at, but let me ask you this. Okay, complicated question. If you're starting Adams' athletic department and you have to hire Rick Barnes or Josh Heupel, who are you hiring?
Josh Heupel.
Me too, Caleb.
Yeah, Josh Heupel.
Kind of bird in the hand as opposed to 2 in the bush, right?
It's almost like, I mean, they always say the devil you know, but
why don't you get that bird in the hand? You have 700 wins. In the bush, you've got maybe a championship.
Okay. That's good.
I mean, that's the
thing. Go ahead, Caleb.
I was going to say devil you know versus devil you don't know, because like you typically go with the devil you know, but it's like in this case, sometimes what you don't know could be worth more. I mean, it's a bit, Josh Heupel's a bigger risk, but also potentially bigger reward. But yeah, I'm going down this list, and guys, when I look at the schools, I gotta say that I would think that Missouri and LSU are the only ones that I can say have definitively better football coaches than basketball coaches. And I mean, even because, Arkansas has Eric Musselman, and I think he's, even though they struggled this year, he's significantly better than Sam Pittman. I mean, I can just tell you guys that up front. And Florida's basketball coach is significantly better than their football coach. Texas A&M's Buzz Williams is more proven. I think by just a slight edge, SEC has better coaches in basketball. But are we in an era, guys? And you guys have covered coaching searches way more than I have.
Oh yeah, I knew what to do yesterday. That's for sure.
It seemed like there was a lot more settling on really terrible coaches in the SEC in the 90s in all sports, wasn't there, than there is now. It just seems like the last settling hire that just was baffling to me was Ed Orgeron, and then he went and won a national championship. So what do I know? But I mean, I don't think I don't think mediocre, like underwhelming, terrible hires are even possible in the SEC anymore with the money that goes around.
That's a really good point, Caleb. I credit former SEC commissioner, the late Mike Slive, for a lot of this. He really made basketball a point of emphasis. He was on the NCAA tournament selection committee at one time, and he realized SEC just wasn't scheduling tough enough non-conference opponents. And so he made that a point of emphasis, and SEC schools got the message. But I think a side effect of that was that it showed that he cared about basketball. He knows it's a football conference primarily, but why not be good in everything? And so why not be good in basketball? And so you see all these SEC schools, to your point, Caleb, are willing to pay big bucks to basketball coaches. I mean, and Kentucky just hired a women's basketball coach away from Virginia Tech. I mean, that tells me they're making that, they want to have a better program. That was a big hire for Kentucky, but they're just in basketball. The SEC schools are really trying to be better, and so that's good. And you're right. If when you go down school by school, you would say the league is stronger in basketball coaching than it is in football, but it's strong in football too.